All right, everybody, before we get started, just a quick update about the book. We're going to be doing a Friday release of the episodes, starting with chapter 1 this Friday, and we'll keep on going every Friday from here. So, again, thank you very much for your support, and remember to let me know what you think and post it in the comment section below. I appreciate you, and thank you for listening. And okay, let's get started. All right, so this week I'm going to be doing things a little bit different. Um, I don't really have anything that I hit scripted so much. As much as I want to have just a general conversation about the channel or the podcast and moving forward, um, I feel like over the last year I have learned a good amount of like what I can do and what I probably shouldn't focus on. Primarily, I was focused on doing a I was focused on doing an episode every day. I do still feel comfortable doing my podcast in that format, so I am going to continue to do it that way. And I feel like the format that I picked is going to help ratio me better, I guess. But then again, right now I'm only releasing the podcast on Podbean, and I don't know how that really works. Um, and I hadn't really had the time to dig deep into how Podbean actually promotes promotes content creators. I was also thinking about jumping into YouTube and probably doing like a YouTube Shorts kind of thing where I just take snippets from the podcast and release it up there to try to generate audience. But then I started thinking about, you know, the workload and what's going on in my life and how that's really affecting me and getting things accomplished like how I would like to have them done. So for now, I'm just going to focus on one thing, and that's Podbean. I'm going to focus on the consistency, and I'm also going to um, focus on the content of that I'm trying to put out. So like the stories, um, I have been flirting with the idea of just doing short, like real short stories, um, almost like the lake, which I wanted to have a discussion about the lake. I hadn't had the chance to get up with Earl, who had narrated it, so that we could have a discussion on it. Um, but should I be able to, I'll release that, and I pray that um, it would pretty much go well with the rest of the content that I'm putting out. I would like to do stuff like that also with me just putting out content and then having like the narrators or whoever else helps me out with the projects, just having them share their opinions and their voices, and just letting everybody know like, hey, I did this and this is where you can follow me, that kind of thing. So be on the lookout for that. I feel like I've been spending a good amount of time focusing on the quality of my content or the quality of my stories more so than I've been focused on the actual quantity that I've been putting out. And I like that idea of being able to just get my work out. I've been fighting that for the longest time, just trying to, you know, have something to show for the effort. And I think I got wrapped up so much in trying to make that right that I've been stalling, and that's not cool. Um, so the first book that I'm writing and going to be releasing in an audio book format is the Pinewood High School incident, and that's book 1 of 10 that I'm planning on writing for the series South, the series, yeah. And so I have the book already mapped out on how it's going to be written. What's been really holding me up is the rewriting sessions because, let's be honest, going back and looking at the gibberish that you wrote is really frustrating. I typically want to focus on just like speeding through work, But then going back and sludging through all of these narrative beats and missing plots and stuff, it's frustrating. So I've been looking for a good way to speed through the chapters, and I think I found like a good method, which is just to just get all of my outlining done first, then just continue to write the chapters out, starting with the end and then just filling in the blanks as I go. And then after that, spending a good few days just going through the rewriting and just piecing everything together. And I wanted to focus on a chapter at a time. I felt like focusing on a chapter at a time was going to help me to get done faster. But what I noticed is that as I did that, like going back and rewriting the single chapter and then going for, to release it, that I've been running into an issue of the timing. And so, like, as far as just releasing it, like, I've been running into an issue of just releasing the thing, because it would take like a whole 2 weeks just for me to get my mind made up to release the single chapter. So that all ends now. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to write out the chapter in a week, and I'm going to do a small rewrite to it. I'm going to just put a stamp on it. If it's finished, it's finished. If it's not, I'm sorry, Wesley, you missed your deadline. And I'm just going to release it. My ultimate goal with the book is to release it as an audiobook format first, and then I'm going to move on from the audiobook. Once that book's finished, I'll take it into a deeper rewrite after the fact, and then I'll submit it for publishing. So that's the plan I'm going with. I'm going to be looking to publish the books that I finish, and I'll just continue that for however long Wesley the writer exists. I'm actually really thankful that I came to the conclusions that I had. I feel like even though there were a lot of bumpy roads over the last year, that I'm not deterred and I'm still continuing on. I know that a lot of people find the allure of becoming a content creator to be something almost like unattainable in a way. Like they fantasize about it, they want to get into it, they get really hyped about it, they get into the process, and then all of a sudden, so many different distractions pop up, and it keeps them from actually focusing on how to optimize their time for the content they're trying to produce. And I really feel like it's one of those situations where if it's in you, then you should foster it, but in a slower pace. I feel like you're being presented with too much too soon. And that's been my stance with modern society as a whole, is that we're being presented with so much information that it becomes so overwhelming that it causes us to stall out. Analysis paralysis kind of thing. And I was actually listening to a video before about the history of the internet and how the internet came to be as a thing and who it was originally intended for. And when I heard about how it was originally intended for academia, it started to make sense, because think about it. Information is what academia rests on. So it's like, when you put that much information in front of someone who would otherwise not have that information or have access to that information, it's going to cause their minds to wander. You're going to start to question everything around you, and it's going to keep you from focusing on what's in front of you. And for some people, that's okay. Like being able to go out here and get lost in cyberspace and all that, that's okay. But if you're trying to accomplish something, if you're trying to be something, be a writer or be an artist of some kind, or you're trying to focus on something that's not taught in a book, well, then you have so many distractions presented before you, even when you first wake up in the morning, even before you lay your head down for sleep. And so I feel like the more important thing that most people should do if they're trying to pursue something, like an art or like some type of broadcasting like this or whatever, is to start doing it with limited interruptions, with as many limited interruptions as possible. You don't want to have so many distractions presented to you to the fact where you're like, oh man, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. You know, because you have an interest. And even if you just like went to the library and found one book to focus on, yes, libraries still exist. I frequent them quite often. Um, Even if you go to the library and pick up a book on like one thing that you're interested in and then just take it home and read it, but then just start doing the thing that you want to do, you'll find yourself having such an easier time. Now, for any of the sciences, especially like computer science, which funny enough, I'm actually getting into myself. I'll tell you more about that at a later date. Um, if you're into something like that, you obviously know that you need technical skills in order to accomplish your task. Like with me in writing, I had to teach myself here at 32 how to type, and because I didn't know how to type at first. I was like, you know, just poking at a keyboard, holding up my time. But learning how to type had actually, it did so much for my time, like freeing up my time, that I was just elated. I was like, good Lord, I can actually put out content, like at a decent pace. And I'm only getting better at it because I enjoy doing it. But it also just complements what I want to do. And I think I had touched on this on another episode. Is whenever you put yourself in the sphere of doing something, the skills that you acquire while doing it helps the process. It's like if you're into filmmaking, obviously you're going to learn what a camera is and how it operates. So that's a skill, but also you're gonna learn a little bit about lighting. You're gonna learn a little bit about set design, about costume, about makeup, and all these other things. And you have to. It comes with the territory. And the more you know about those things, the better off you are, even if you're just focused on being a PA or a production assistant or whatever else. So yeah, it's that's how I approach my process, how I approach my life now, is taking up the skills that's going to help me get further. And I think that's important for anyone looking to do anything at any age, but also about just really getting out there and just doing the thing, is the most important part. Because again, if you're not doing it, you're just talking about it. And if you're just talking about it, you're boring your friends and family at at moments where they don't really feel like talking about your thing. I would prefer to come to the table with a production so that everybody can get bored with that, but at least they know that I'm about what I'm talking about. I don't know. I felt like I was just like venting there a little bit. Anyway, so with that said, and in conclusion for today, just remember, um, as long as you're focused on doing your thing, there's no real issue. But just make sure that you're not being hemmed up by yourself. And I'm popular for doing that. I'll hem myself up all the time. And it sucks because I see it. I get real emotional. I've noticed that about myself. But that can't keep me from going forward with what I'm supposed to be doing. And I just hope that I can help you guys just really get in the mindset, the mind frame of just getting started and just really doing what it is that you love doing. You know, even if you discover something else along the way, at least you're putting your best foot forward. You're not just resting on someone else's judgment or someone else's time. You're making time for yourself, and that's the most important part of all of it. But anyway, I appreciate you so much. I thank you for listening, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye for now. Peace.